What's up, everybody? I'm Simon Sabro, and today we got for y'all my July manga reading log. So before we get into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Simon Sabro YT. Link for that will always be down in the description. Also, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss an upload, all of that good stuff. Also, as usual, comment down anything you've been reading recently. How'd you feel about the stuff I read? Do you agree, disagree with me? Anything you'd recommend to me? Anything like that whatsoever. But with all that out the way, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so before we get into it, I do want to just say happy August to everybody. It is a new month. Let's start the month off fresh, all that good stuff. Let's just have fun. Anything that happened last month, push that negativity off. We stepping into a new month. So let's look forward, eyes straight, and just have fun. You know, just get stuff done. All that good stuff. Is a brand new month. Try not to worry about things from last month or even just yesterday. Just keep moving forward. But with that out the way, it is going to be in the title. So you already know what we are going to be talking about. Like I said, this is the reading log, but we are going to be talking about this Boys Abyss Volume 2. Some time ago, I did a video talking about how I felt about Boys Abyss Volume 1 and how I did not like it. And a lot of people are like, yo, wait for the next volume. It gets a lot better. Blase, blase. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna get Volume 2 when it comes out. So Volume 2 came out sometime last month, whatever. Bought it, read it, cool. So, if I'm gonna give it to y'all straight, because I know a lot of y'all probably clicked on the video just to hear what I thought about this. I still don't like Boys Abyss. I still don't like it. Y'all gonna hate me, but I still don't like it. I will say Volume 2 was more interesting than Volume 1, but Volume 2 introduced a couple of topics that I'm not really a big fan of, and it's, you know, regarding this character here. So if this the manga y'all hyping up, I don't want y'all recommending me nothing, cause y'all lost it. Like this y'all guy, like this y'all character duo right here, this who y'all love. I don't know, but on a serious note though, like I said, I did enjoy this volume a lot more than the previous volume, but I'm not a big fan of what happens between these two characters. I'm gonna just put it like that. If you've read the volume, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, like, if you haven't read the volume, think the very worst case scenario. That's what happens here. I'm gonna just give it to y'all like that. But I still wasn't a fan of it. I do feel like the story, or this volume, so to say, did kind of, let me not show this page actually. Let me not show that page. But I do think this volume kind of shows more of the mindset for the other characters living in the village or town, whatever it's called, especially with the end of the volume, because it does go back to that one character dude that showed up in Volume 1, whose name I don't remember. I'm probably gonna pick up Volume 3 because I try to give things 3 volumes at least. So I'm probably still gonna try and pick up Volume 3, but also because the volume cover is beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, the volume covers being like looking as good as they look definitely like play a part into my enjoyment, or not enjoyment, but my willingness to continue collecting this series, because this is the Volume 1 cover. Beautiful, beautiful cover. Even the Volume 2 cover, really beautiful. I don't know what Volume 3 looks like, but probably also going to be beautiful, assuming it follows like this same kind of aesthetic. So I'm gonna get Volume 3, and I'm gonna just make it a trilogy on how I feel about this series, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So To all you people who showed up just to hear me talk about Boys Abyss, thank you for watching. For the people that want to stick around and continue, you know, the rest of what I read, thank you for sticking around. So the next thing we did have is The Summer Hikaru Died Volume 1. So this one is a brand new series, came out last month. Interesting story, I'll be very honest. It reminds me a bit of Summertime Rendering, but minus the time looping stuff, pretty much. I think, as far as my initial impressions of this series go, I think it was a great introduction volume, but I will say it's one of those series where I feel like it gets better. Like, I feel like maybe around like volume 5, 6, maybe 7. I don't know how much volumes it is in Japan. I don't know if it's finished or not, but I feel like the longer the series goes on, the better it'll get. Like, I feel like it needs a lot of exposition, but once it gets to a certain point, it's going to become a really great story once it, you know, hits that stride. But I feel like it's going to be a while before it does hit that stride. Now, I do love the art style, like the grittiness of the art, I really do love. But the characters' faces in a couple of scenes, I'm not the biggest fan of. But just in case you're unfamiliar, so it's about this guy, name I don't remember, and this guy, his name's Hikaru. So one day Hikaru went up into this mountain and basically died, and a monster that we don't really know much about took over Hikaru's body and is like pretending to be Hikaru. Knows all of his gestures, memories, can basically act like Hikaru one for one. And so it's kind of the monster trying to live with the regular guy who was Hikaru's best friend. Or rather, Hikaru's best friend trying to live with the monster because they really do miss Hikaru. And the only way they can interact with something similar to Hikaru is by interacting with that monster. And like I said, a little bit like Summertime Rendering just in that aspect. And I think it does have a very interesting premise because the main character so far, the one with black hair, Hikaru's best friend, so far from what I can tell, it's he has like this inner turmoil of like, hey, this isn't Hikaru, I shouldn't get that close to it, but it's kind of like Hikaru, you know? And it's a very interesting story just off of that. And I think the setting is what's the most interesting. And that's what I mean when I say I feel like it'll take a couple of volumes to really hit that stride, because just off of this first volume, not like, I feel like it gave me a lot more questions with no answers, which is fine. It is only a volume 1. I shouldn't expect it to give me answers or give me questions and answer them in the same volume. That'd be wrong of me to expect that. So that is perfectly fine. But I feel like some of the questions are things that'll get answered in like the last arc, or however, you know, the story is formatted. But I did overall enjoy it. I'm probably gonna pick up the next volume, especially if it does still follow this kind of volume aesthetic where it's like blue with just a character on it, because I do think it is a really great, not only cover, but just the overall volume aesthetic looks really, really good. So I'm probably still, not probably, I'm pretty sure I am gonna get volume 2. Like I said with Boys Abyss, I try to give things, you know, 3 volumes. And if it doesn't make it past volume 3, then that's a different story. There are definitely some series I have picked up at volume 1 that I didn't pick up volume 2 of, so on and so forth. Now, this next one is one I'm definitely going to be picking up more volumes of. Not going to spend too much time on it, and that is Homunculus. The first omnibus, volume 1 and 2. And reason I'm not going to spend much time on it is because I do have an entire video about it. I will put up a card. I don't know if it's this side or this side, but one of those sides. I'll put up a little card. And you could watch it if you want to hear my thoughts on it. Really briefly, I really did enjoy it. It is an amazing seinen so far, and it is exactly everything that I would want to read. Like I said, if you want more of my in-depth thoughts, it is in that video. Like I said, card on one of these sides here. Moving on. So this is one that I read also. I feel like I read it. This is probably like the first thing I read last month. Feels like I've read it a really long time ago, but I don't know. And that is Prophecy. This book, honestly, this was probably my favorite read. This and Homunculus were like definitely my favorite reads, and not the next book, but the next book were definitely my favorite reads. But Prophecy was up there. So this is okay. How do I explain this? So it's about cybercrime, and it's about this group of guys. I forgot what they go by. Paperboy. That's what they go by, and that's this guy here, Paperboy, who basically, well, he's kind of like being, how do I describe this in like the most accurate way? He's like enacting revenge on corrupt people, like corrupt business people, people in higher places like bosses, people of authority. That's the proper word. So he enacts revenge on people of authority for mistreating the people below them. There we go. Boom. And this is a detective whose job is to investigate Paperboy and arrest him. And it is just this one volume. I want to say it's probably like a 2-in-1 because it does say complete edition, so I'm assuming a 2-in-1. And it is a great story for what it is. The story does evolve in very interesting ways that I'm not gonna explain at all. I feel like that's something that would be like an absolute spoiler of me to say, but I would recommend this series to almost anybody. It's a very beautiful story of like friendship, but also a bit scary of a story with technology, as well as cybercrime, especially in how like internet and technology the world is right now, specifically in America. I really can't speak on any other country, but how like involved it is with the internet and social media and stuff like that. I feel like this book, like they've dropped this complete edition at the perfect time. And it's a really hard one to talk about. I feel like the less you know, the better. I feel like I say that about a good couple of series, but this one definitely, because there's like so much mystery to it, because you're watching the cat and mouse story from both perspectives. Sometimes you see it from the cat's perspective, being the detective. Sometimes you see it from the mouse, being Paperboy. Sometimes Paperboy ends up the cat in the situation. So it's a very interesting story. I love the way that it's written. The characters are very interesting. I wouldn't say the characters are like super fleshed out. I mean, it is only 2 volumes, but I do think like the story and the motives behind specifically the leader of Paperboy, so to say, and the main investigator, great. Really do love it. Moving on is we're gonna get into another sci-fi one, and that is Sugumi Project Volume 1. For one, I will say not the biggest fan of this volume cover. I really just don't like his design or any of like the human designs in this book. But and also I've come to realize that this like very dark shade of red just hurts my eyes. I don't know what it is. Not the biggest fan of it. Like I said, I have no idea why. But here's like one of the color pages started off. And so it is a series that's pretty much about a post-apocalyptic era. And I want to say it was Russia. I think the main character is Russian or American. I don't remember. I'm sorry. But him and a group of other people are basically going to this island, which is Japan after some crisis, I think. Kind of bad with like the geography of these stories. But they go to this place, which I believe was like a ruined Japan, and they're investigating, trying to look for this ultimate weapon because whatever country they're from, like I said, I think it was Russia, but I'm not 100% sure. They're trying to get their hands on this weapon just in case if like a war breaks out for supplies and stuff. It's pretty much the basic premise. Things go wrong, of course, and the main character has to just survive the new circumstances that he's found himself in. But he's very dead set on finding this weapon so that he could go back home, because whoever can find the weapon can go back home to their family and they get a pardon from being on death row, which is what all of these guys are on, kind of similar to like Hell's Paradise. This story so far definitely is nothing like Hell's Paradise, I'll tell you that much. Do like the art style. I'll pull up a picture that I kind of have specifically in mind. Hopefully I like haven't passed it yet. Here we go. Yep. Like I love the art style in it. I'm probably still gonna pick up the next 2 volumes because I just do love sci-fi, and this is very sci-fi. And I think the volume 2 cover looks really good. I'm a very big like cover person, if you couldn't tell by now. Like covers and spines and overall volume aesthetic plays a big part into the stuff I buy. So we do have 2 series left. I'm kind of like blitzing through these. It's like 5, maybe 6 in the morning by now. I'm really not sure. Really tired. So I'm kind of just going through these. And just, you know, not trying to make the video go on too long. But second to last, we do have the final volume for Last Gender, volume 3. And this was, like I said, the final volume. Really great way to end the story. I'm not gonna talk too much on it. Hopefully it focuses. Yeah, not gonna talk too much on it just because I feel like it is the last volume. I've talked about volumes 1 and 2 periodically, I think. We do finally get the backstory for the character. I forgot her name, but this girl, we do get their backstory, which I feel like ended off the volume perfectly. It also sheds a lot of light on this dude, him, and like closes off his story. And I feel like this final volume just closed off all of the character arcs that needed to be closed, which I think it did a really great job at. And I love this book a lot because it never overstayed its welcome. It didn't feel like it dragged too long. It didn't feel like it was too short. Kind of similar to how I feel it's not in the camera, but Boys Run the Riot. Whereas this this book was only like 4 volumes long. Loved every single volume of it. Felt like it did what it had to do and, you know, ended. I don't feel like it overstayed its welcome. I don't feel like it was, sometimes I do feel like it was like a little too short, but I'd rather a series be too short and great than a series drag on too long and just not do good at all. Or, you know, drag on too long and it's like, it should have ended like 5 volumes ago kind of thing. But the very last thing we did read, well, technically there's some more stuff, but I'm not going to talk about them in this video. I kind of briefly touched on it in the manga haul. I'll kind of briefly touch on it again here, but it is a couple of Saturday AM manga. If you know, you know. Those are being saved for a future video of mine. I'm not sure if it'll be coming out this month or next month. Honestly, not sure. I haven't really thought that all the way through yet, but you'll see those whenever it comes around, but it's not going to be in this video, basically. So the last volume we do have is Chain Soldier, volume 4, Peak Friction. You know, I always like gotta read one of them per month, pretty much. This volume just started out strong. And honestly, it ended off strong too. But can't speak too much on it. The story for it, even though it is peak friction, it is peak fiction too. Like, it does have a good story to it. And the characters are, can I show this page? Let's not do that. I'm not even gonna risk it. I ain't even gonna risk it. But this series, okay. But this series so far has been really fun. I'm not sure when volume 5 comes out, but looking forward to it. The art in here is clean. I wouldn't say it's great or amazing. It's clean. The story is actually like really good. The characters are also really well written. And I'm excited to see what happens in volume 5, because volume 4 kind of ended in a way that hinted at like volume 5 being some pressure. It is, I want to say it's the start of a new arc with volume 4. So volume 5 will be getting deeper on into that arc, and I'm honestly really looking forward to it. Also, to kind of touch on some digital series really briefly, I'm not gonna put up any pictures or anything because I'm really not gonna talk about these that long. Spoilers, I do apologize. Black Clover, recent chapters I just caught up. I think I'm like one chapter behind now. Amazing. Yuki Tabata is killing it with that one. Sakamoto Days, I am caught up. Really good as well. My Hero, I'm caught up. I feel like My Hero should have ended some time ago, if I'm being honest, but I'm loving the dynamic between the Todoroki family. That is a really good read, I'll say that much. JJK, if you know, you know. I ain't even gonna say it, but if you know, you know. It's going right now. I don't know how it's gonna end, but it's going right now. I think that's pretty much. Actually, I did want to talk about this one really briefly. Chainsaw Man Part 2 has been terrible to me. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like Chainsaw Man Part 2 ruined everything Chainsaw Part 1 set up. I feel like Chainsaw Part 2 really just turned Denji into like everything the internet saw him for. If that makes sense. Like, I feel like it took all of the traits that the internet highlighted about Denji, and Part 2 like took that and made it his character, similar to like how Dragon Ball Super kind of took all of Goku's like bad qualities and made that his character. Speaking on the anime specifically, because I don't know what the Dragon Ball Super manga is like, but whereas like, yeah, the Dragon Ball Super anime just kind of took all of Goku's tropes and made those his character traits. I feel like that's what Part 2 has been doing for Denji, as opposed to where Part 1, it was like, you know, a perfectly set up character. Same goes with Asa. In a sense, like Asa started out with like so much potential. I was saying like, hey, I love Asa more than Denji, but now I kind of just hate both of them, if I'm being honest. If you're caught up to Chainsaw Part 2, comment that down below. Like, how do you feel about the characters? How do you feel about the story so far? Like, what's your thoughts? Maybe I'm reading the wrong story, I don't know. But that's pretty much it for the video. Let's give a quick shout out to our channel members. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Once again, be sure to follow me on Instagram at SimonSabroYT. Link for that will always be down in the description. Also, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss an upload, all of that good stuff. Once again, comment down anything you've been reading recently. How'd you feel about the stuff I read? Anything you'd recommend to me? Anything like that whatsoever. But this is Simon Sabro signing out. I'll catch you on the next one.